Right. And so with that, let me take you out to one of Sage's dashboards. And here I have the project performance dashboards. And so dashboards help you monitor and access the most important aspects of your company. And so they provide an at-a-glance insight customized for the needs of specific roles. As an example, you can see I have some roles listed here. Okay, and so you can add as many dashboards as you want and tailor the reporting experience for different stakeholders by controlling who sees these real-time reports. Up at the top here, I have my performance card, so giving me that KPI visibility. I can also add in reports. I can add in graphs. I can add in charts as well. You'll see that I have blue hyperlinks. In Intacct, when you have blue or green hyperlinks, this allows you to drill down into the source transaction. So if I take this 504,000 of the total billings for Quick Bowls Portland, I can select it. This is going to open up my general ledger report, and from there I can drill down further into the source transaction. I can also select the edit pencil. That will open up my financial report writer where I can change this report. I can open up this report in its own separate window. And once this report opens, I can also print to PDF, export to Excel. I can also email this report out. You'll also see that I have conditional highlighting set up in this. And so with this, I have a color scale. I also have a trend indicator in my performance cards. And with the conditional highlighting, this is going to allow me to see information that matters the most with visual indicators that draw my eye. So if I'm over budget, I'm going to see that immediately. You also see up at the top, I have filters, so I can filter out by a specific date. I can filter out by departments, by entities or locations, and projects themselves. And of course, I can always go into my gear icon. I can change the appearance. I can select different filters, and then I can also allow certain groups or users access to this dashboard. All right, so then bringing us out to projects. And so here I'm going to go into my projects menu. This is going to list all of the job related information. So let's first go ahead and look at where your projects will be housed. So I'll select the projects task. So how do I get projects into the system? Well, what I can do is I can manually add. I can also use one of Sage's import templates to import projects, and I can also duplicate a project as well. You also see in my Sumner Warehouse Distribution Center, right below that, is that I have sub jobs. And so in Intacct, projects can be set up with parent-child relationships. You can have grandchildren, you can have great-grandchildren, as I have displayed here. And what this allows you to do is to track, to invoice, build these all as separate projects, but you can still roll up and report on the parent project. With the project IDs, they can be alphanumeric, so you are able to decide if you want a sequential numbering system or a simple naming convention or a mixture of both. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go into my Greenview High School by selecting Edit. So when you're setting up your job, you'll have tabs at the top to house the detailed information. So in the project tab here, I have my project information, including the project name, project category, which is going to be used mainly for reporting purposes. And then I also have project type, which you can see you can add. So this is a user customizable list, allowing you to report further on your projects. A customized description, set the customer for billing purposes, begin date, end date, parent project if that is applicable, and then we also have the status of that job. Down below, I can also tag a project manager as well as a sales contact. In my additional information tab, here are the billing section, and I also have dimensions. And so with my dimensions, this allows me to tag or to categorize information And that is for the purpose of being able to organize, to sort, filter, and expand reports. In my project summary, here I like to use this tab if I want to have a high-level overview of how this job is performing without running a report. My cost codes tab. So with my cost codes tab, this is going to allow me to see which cost codes have been assigned to this project. Cost codes can be a user-defined, or they can be also your standard cost code list as well. With your Estimates tab, Sage Intacct allows for multiple project estimates or budgets which can be imported. You can also enter them manually. When I select Edit, that's going to open up my estimate. And then down below, you're going to see your estimates can be as detailed or as simple as you want with your typical budget information like cost code, cost type, quantity, and amount. With my Purchasing Commitments tab, this is going to allow me to see all of the subcontracts as well as purchase orders relating to this job. In addition, I can see for each one the original amount, changes, revised amount, what has been invoiced, what has been paid in the invoice balance. Once again, I can always go ahead, I can select a green hyperlink that is going to open up the subcontract, where I can see detailed information such as the entries table, the change documents, the posting details, the history. So not only does it show me the user in the system that modified, but also the date it was modified. And then Sage Intacct can also have compliance relating to insurance, miscellaneous, and lien waivers as well. And then lastly, we have the ASG query. ASG stands for Alliance Solutions Group. That is because our in-house developers have built this tab exclusively for our Alliance customers. And inside this tab, here you get the job summary snapshot. So essentially, this tab is going to be a one-stop shop for all of your job information, including your order entry tab, which will show you all of the invoicing for this job, as well as the capability to drill into that invoice, the statement of values, any change requests on that job. We can see all the AP bills related to this job, as well as GL entry. Back on my projects menu, I can select project contracts to see those listed inside the system. I can view the statement of values. I'll just go ahead and select edit. I could have selected view or lines as well. And here then I can see the statement of values. Back on the project menu, here I have the change management, allowing me to enter in change request, which are potential change orders to revise project contract lines. Then what you'll do, once that change request has become approved, that is when it is a change order, and you'll go ahead and you will turn that change request into a change order. From there, we have generate invoices for billing. From there, I can invoice by customer, by project contract, bill through date, today's date, and then I'll go ahead and I'll select preview. From there, I'm going to scroll on down to my statement of values, where I can see them line by line, and I can invoice line by line. I can go to the percent complete. I can base on a percentage, so I can put in, let's say 60% done, which will then populate my completed this period amount. Or I can go to the completed amount, put in my amount, and that will also affect my completed this period, and then select create invoice. Once you select the create invoice, you can view all invoices inside the project by selecting the view button under the invoice category. And from there, you can print or email. Print is always going to print a PDF. And so this is going to be your invoice similar to AI billing, like for G702 and 703. All right, and then once that invoice has been sent out, what you have to do is you have to account for receiving payment. So then we're going to go to our application switcher, go to accounts receivable, select receive payments new, select add in the upper right hand corner, let the system load. There's our fields, and then we can search by our customer, select the bank account, payment method, and then show invoices. The system will populate the outstanding invoices for that customer. I can select, add and close. It will be populated then in the invoices selected for payment. Put in a payment amount of $20,000 and then select post. If I want to see additional information inside of accounts receivable, such as my reports, they will always be found on the third column, the far right-hand side, where I have my out-of-the-box standard reports for accounts receivable. All right, and then back in my projects, I do want to show WIP management. All right, and so here I have one schedule set, and so each WIP schedule covers a specific period. I'll go into that schedule, and then once I'm in there, each row in the WIP project section represents an ongoing project. And then each column contains information for that project in the WIP schedule period. Now, CFOs and project managers can use the interactive tool to enter their own project cost and revenue forecast to go along with the data pulled from Sage Intacct. Over to the right-hand side, you'll see the additional fields populated. And then we also have a finalized column. Now, all projects in the WIP schedule must be marked finalized before you can post. And when you post a WIP schedule, the overbilling and underbilling amounts are posted to the account specified when you have configured WIP management. Now, when you revert a WIP schedule posting, the journal transactions that were created for the overbilling or underbilling amounts, they are automatically going to be reversed for you. All right, now bringing us to our next application, which is purchasing, and that is going to cover our commitments, including your subcontracts as well as your purchase orders. So on the overview screen here, you can see that I have a workflow process. So when your company is set up, you get to determine that workflow process and create those transaction definitions. Examples include transaction definitions like purchase rec, purchase order, receipt, vendor invoice. And again, you get to determine this workflow process. So when you need to enter in a PO or a subcontract, you'll select the order, select either it be PO or subcontract. I can go ahead and select subcontract. Here's listed all of my POs inside the system. Select add in the upper right-hand corner. Go ahead and select that vendor. And then down below, I can select the project. And then once I select the project, I can select the cost code, as well as the cost type. Go ahead, put in my quantity, my price, and then go ahead and post it from there. Once I post it, it will be listed as my purchase order. Now, if I need to make a change, I can go and select edit. From edit, then I can go to more actions, new change, PO change order. And then from there, I can go ahead and I can enter in my changes from there and select post. Now in Intacct, When you have a purchase order and you need to convert it to the next step in your workflow, you'll see that I have different states: pending, converted, draft, and partially convert. Since I have pending, this means that I can convert it to the next step, and I can easily do that by selecting convert. That is going to give me the next steps in my workflow. I can convert to a purchasing invoice. What I have to do, put in the vendor document number, verify everything is correct, and select post. Once I select post, then it's going to be a separate transaction of a purchasing invoice in Intacct, and it is also going to become a bill in accounts payable to be paid as well. So you'll see now I have that purchasing invoice. It was created to a purchasing invoice because it shows me in the state of converted. But then I can go into invoice and I can see it is now a separate transaction. And then I can view that also in accounts payable. Under bills, you can see Beaverton Sand and Gravel. It has automatically become a bill from my purchasing invoice. And then once it is a bill, I have to pay that bill. So I'll go ahead and I'll select pay bills. Let the filters load. And once they load, then I can go ahead and I can pay out my bill. Now I can select that payment method. I can select the bank. And then down below is the list of bills to be paid. I can select the header row. Intacct also handles vendor compliance, so I can have it set a warning if compliance has not been met. I can also do an error. An error will not let me process payment from there. All right, bringing us to then the financial piece of this. And so in Intacct, what we have here are dimensions. And so here's a list of our out-of-the-box dimensions. And a dimension is a classification system used to organize, sort, and report on your company information in meaningful ways. So what I can do with a dimension is that it can be utilized for the power to group, sort, filter, and expand reports. So I can open up my financial reports. Here's going to be a listing of all of my financial reports in the system. And so with the financial reports, if I have permission, I can edit them. I can process and store. I can run them live as HTML, export CSV, PDF, and Excel, and I could also schedule a report to run in the future. When your company is set up, you also get a quick start library where you can easily install these reports so you do not have to create them on the fly. And with the time that is remaining in this demo, I'm going to actually go ahead, I'm going to create a financial report for you using the financial report writer. I'd like to show this because it is the ease of use with our financial report writer, as well as how you can expand by dimensions. So I'll select add, and let's just quickly add in a balance sheet. I'll use the rows and the tabs on the left to build this out. I need to select my account groups. Account groups will give me then the accounts that I need. From there, I can go to accounts receivable. I can do expand by dimension. Let's go ahead, do by project. And then let's go down to AP. And let's select vendors. And then let's go to columns. For columns, I can choose a reporting month or a different reporting period. And then let's go ahead and I can expand by another dimension. Let's do by our entities. And then I can go preview, live report. And so here we have a balance sheet of our entities, as well as a roll-up. Accounts receivable, I have all of my projects. And then down below, I have a listing of accounts payable as well. Now, also included in Intacct is that you get your reports center. And with the report center, this is going to include all reports, including those standard reports for each application, such as here's your financial reports. Here is cash management, GL, AP, and AR as well. Additionally, we also have included as part of an Alliance customer is that you become part of Alliance Connects. And Alliance Connects is our IP to enhance our customers' experience. And so you can see here in Alliance Connects is that you get several job costing reports, like your job estimate versus actual. I also can pull a commitments report, for example, subcontract. I can also do a cost to complete. So several reports that I have available in here in this